Okay, good evening, folks, and welcome to the Marshfield School Committee meeting on Tuesday, March 23rd. Mrs. Pazerski, if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Costello?
Here.
Mrs. Brate?
Here.
Ms. Boyd?
Here.
Ms. Campbell?
Here.
And Mr. Greer?
Here.
Okay, could you please rise? Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, folks, thank you very much. Before we get started with our regular agenda tonight, the chair will entertain a motion from a member of the committee to enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, to return to open session thereafter. Is such a motion on the floor?
So moved.
So moved.
So moved from Mr. Greer. Second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Boyd. Thank you. That's a roll call, Ms. Pazerski?
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Mrs. Brate? Ms. Boyd?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Greer?
Yes.
Okay, folks, so the school committee will be entering into a brief executive session, and we will be back shortly, so we ask for your patience. The other school committee members who are having to Zoom in, could you please just ensure that you are on mute? Thank you. Okay, folks, thank you very much for your patience there. The committee, as you can see, is back from executive session, and we'll commence with our agenda momentarily, but I do have some news to share. I'm pleased to share that the school committee has reached a tentative agreement with the Marshfield Education Association to bring students in grades 6 to 12 back for full-time instruction beginning on Monday, April 5th. Because this matter involves collective bargaining, the committee voted just now to ratify this agreement, this tentative agreement in executive session. However, I want to share with all of our stakeholders here tonight and with the public that this was a unanimous vote. The MEA will also be reviewing this agreement and voting on it as well. Just a couple remarks on the agreement here. Thank you to Superintendent Granatino and our bargaining team, Ms. Boyd, Mr. Greer, for their work on this. And thank you as well to MEA President Sally Marples and her team for their continued collaboration. We're lucky to have the relationship that we do with the union. It's an important decision, and I'd like to address a few things from a school committee perspective, as well as from a personal perspective. I know I speak for the entire committee when I say we recognize and appreciate the passion people have for our public education. We're proud of the system we have, and the continued progress Marshfield Public Schools has made over the years is thanks to the full and enthusiastic investment of our community, our students, their families, and certainly our educators. Last week, the committee was informed by the superintendent that logistically, the earliest we could be ready from a facilities and planning standpoint to return to school full-time was March 29th. In order to begin planning and executing a return, this committee voted to approve a specifically worded motion. This was a necessary step as we are the authority that directs our administrators to begin this process and have a date towards which to work. However, the motion was worded in a way that reflected our continued commitment to working with our partners in the MEA to ensure that we were returning with their valued input. I understand the confusion it may have caused, which is only further complicated by the fact that we had immediately engaged in bargaining with the MEA, limiting what we could communicate to anyone who expressed their concerns. This committee has always been committed to bargaining in good faith with the union, and that has not changed. I sincerely hope this agreement demonstrates that. Someone that I have a great deal of respect for recently told me that the genius of America is in our ability to compromise. I've spent years telling my students and youth in government that compromise is an art we've steadily lost sight of throughout this country. So while I recognize that no decision we make can make everyone completely happy, I'm proud that we've reached an agreement that takes into account all stakeholders' perspectives. To our parents and families, thank you for your continued patience and trust. I know that some may be disappointed in the final start date, but I ask for your flexibility with just 4 extra days. as well as your faith in our educators and in our administrators who always have the best interest of our students at heart. We know there are still concerns about logistics, and we hear you, whether it involves specific elements of the plan like nutrition, snack breaks, and mask breaks, or it's a bigger picture like social emotional wellness. Our leaders, starting with Superintendent Granatino, are working their hardest to make sure everything is worked out. I have full faith that we will be ready to go on April 5th. This agreement and these 4 extra days will allow us to start a full in-person model with the start of the new term, as well as after most of our teachers have had access to their second vaccination shot. This committee and Superintendent Granatino worked hard to secure vaccinations for our teachers earlier than most districts in Massachusetts, and we know it brings peace of mind to our staff and our students, and that's important to us. To our teachers, thank you for your continued flexibility throughout the year and for your unwavering commitment to our students. I hope this agreement demonstrates loud and clear that we hear you. We recognize your concerns. We know that you're on the front lines and that you are our educational experts in this community. We know that you have the best interest of your students at heart. On a personal level, I know this firsthand as a former student who learned from so many of you, my God, 11 years ago. For the 6 years I've been lucky enough to serve on this committee, I've made an effort to fulfill my major obligation of working in the best interest of our students while being open and sincere in my belief that this goes hand in hand with supporting our educators. I understand that the pandemic has put a strain on all of us mentally and emotionally, and that our teachers have sacrificed a whole lot. If I've failed to adequately express my support for our educators as well as for our school leadership this past year, that's on me. I take my role as a voice for this community very seriously and have always tried to use that voice to express the utmost confidence in our teachers. I'll do my very best to express my appreciation and the appreciation of this entire community for all that you do with both my words and my actions. And I know the rest of the committee feels the same way. Finally, to our students, the same goes for you. We understand that this year has brought unprecedented challenges to you, and that due to circumstances often beyond any of our control, you have had to endure so many changes in how you learn. We also understand that this has caused some social emotional difficulties. I want you to know that your voice has mattered in this process. We hear you, and we want to do what's best for you. I'm continually impressed by how you faced these challenges, and while I know another change back to fully in-person will be an adjustment, this committee is confident that it's the best decision for your education. Most of all, I'm confident in Marshfield. We're lucky to live in this community, and while the last year has presented challenges that at times have seemed impossible, we've worked through those challenges together. We will get through this in returning our students to full-time, in-person instruction safely, and with the partnership of the Marshfield Education Association is a strong step forward. So thank you, folks. I'm going to turn it on over now to Superintendent Granatino to speak a little bit more about the agreement. Superintendent Granatino.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Costello. I will be brief. I'm not going to go into the nitty-gritty details. I think we've presented them a few times at previous meetings as far as what this model will look like. It is posted as well, the presentation that we've had with the committee posted up on the website of mpsd.org if you want to take a look-see at that. As Mr. Costello alluded to, there is still some steps that the union will take on this matter, and then hopefully we'll be able to move forward. There'll be communications coming from your building principals with some more of the details specific to the reopening at fully in person. I'll be sending out something later on that will just kind of give an overview of what's been voted on and what we're looking to move forward with. And again, I just want to thank the bargaining team as well. Mr. Greer, Ms. Boyd were great assistants for me as we went through the process, and Ms. Marples, Mr. Tibbetts, Ms. O'Brien, Ms. Walsh. There was a number of folks from the MEA side who I'm sure Sally will thank when she speaks. I really appreciate their insight, their honesty, their willingness to talk and listen and collaborate. And to all the members of the MEA, I thank them for their patience. And I know it's been trying for some and concerning for some, but again, we truly do want to move forward in a safe fashion. We've said that since our reopening plan back in August, that eventually we were going to work towards reopening fully when it was time to do so. The state obviously was moving districts in that direction. So we wanted to make sure that we had the details of that Marshfield centric and with the best interests of our members and our administrators and our students in mind when we did so. So thank you very much. And just very briefly, I'm not going to go into too much detail because it hasn't been really discussed with the MEA in great detail just yet. But at the same time as we were reopening the elementary school 4 days fully in person, you recall the state came down with some newer expectations. Around the time they came out with the expectations for the middle school. But by April 5th, they want all elementary schools across the state to be fully in person 5 days a week. Many of the schools that went back in February to in-person instruction went 4 days with typically that Wednesday off and kept it as a remote day for students to work at home with teachers concurrently, so buildings could get cleaned up a little bit more. So there's multiple reasons why folks kept it that way. But now the state is saying by April 5, we have to have that day in person. And so we're working on that. We have some tentative plans that we'll be discussing with the union this week. We have a meeting set up in 2 days. And the long and short of it is we have to have those 5 days, a total of at least 25 hours of instructional time. And we also want to try to honor what we've done in the past with the early release schedule for the elementaries. In the past, it's been Thursday. Right now, we're probably going to be looking at a Wednesday model where there's an early release. So there's some things that have to get moved around because, again, the hours that we have in place right now, even if we added a half day, would fall short of the 25 that the state wants us to have. So our plan calls for that. It addresses some of the concerns that were brought up previously if we were to come back fully in person on that Wednesday. So we'll be talking about that with the union this week, and we're hopeful it's going to be a quick discussion. Again, many districts right now are in that same position of having to adjust the plan that they already agreed to weeks ago, and that's unfortunately been the theme that we've been struggling with some, that we make plans and then the state changes the plans. And I get it. There's things that are changing on their end as well, but it's a challenge for districts who spend a lot of time working on plans, putting them in place, and then finding they have to adjust them again. So we will, and we've done it. And again, many people have already spoken to the patience of our teachers and our parents and students, and this will be one more case where we will have to just work together to come up with that revised plan. It's not a lot that has to get revised, but it will be a little different, and we're hopeful that we'll be able to communicate that out to the parents and our elementary students and staff very soon. And that's all I have, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Granatino. I think we're going to take just a few things out of order, but we're going to start with the spotlight.
Spotlight on excellence.
Excellence.
Great.
And I see the one and only Karen Hubbard is here, so the spotlight is about Governor Winslow. So I'll turn it on over to you, Mr. Granatino, and you, Principal Hubbard, to talk about our spotlight on excellence today.
Yes, I will turn it over to Ms. Hubbard, the esteemed principal of Governor Winslow. And she's going to talk a little bit about the fit trail that they have over there that was the brainchild of a few staff members. And thanks to the largesse of our Marshfield Education Foundation, we were able to fund this trail. And the MEF, again, has funded close to $1 million worth of projects over the years. And this is one great project that they did last year. And it's a lot of fun to see it in action. So I'm going to let Ms. Hubbard talk about it and then introduce the people that made it come to fruition.
Is Ms. Hubbard on mute? I just requested it. Go ahead, Ms. Hubbard.
Thank you. I was trying to unmute. It wouldn't let me. I didn't think you wanted me to speak, Mr. Granatino. In all honesty, I'm so excited to talk to you tonight. As Mr. Granatino said, the Marshfield Education Foundation has, for all 7 schools, given us opportunity to do amazing things, and we're very grateful to them. But the amazing things at all 7 schools can't happen without amazing teachers. And tonight, I'm going to introduce 3 of those amazing teachers from Governor Winslow, who helped to started with an idea and have a wonderful fit trail down here that's not only used by our students and staff at Governor Winslow, but is used by the entire community. I know I saw Dr. Martin and her family down here this past Sunday, so I'm sure they were using it as well. So honestly, we are so excited. Dawn Backlund in grade 4 Mark Talachi, a teacher in grade 4 as well, and our physical education teacher, Sean Jackson, are not only to be introduced tonight, but they're to be thanked for the countless hours from the writing of the grant to the implementation to actually being out there with hose and rakes and working on the trail. It is a wonderful thing to see. So I'm going to turn it over to, it's Mrs. Backlund that will be sharing her screen, Mr. Granatino. So I'm not sure who gives her permission to do that.
All right, I've been unmuted. Here we go. All right, so first of all, on behalf of Sean Jackson, Mark Talachi, and myself, Dawn Backlund, we would like to thank the school committee for spotlighting the GWS Fit Trail during this evening's meeting. We are extremely proud of this project and welcome any opportunity to get the word out to the Marshfield community. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. So that you can get a glimpse of what it's like. But of course, we'd love to have you down here to actually physically walk it because pictures don't do it justice. So here we go. All right. This.
Hello.
Oh. Sorry. All right, so our Fit Trail, it's called the Fitness Trail and Outdoor Classroom. And we wanted to create a fitness trail that would directly impact the social emotional learning, which we call SEL, which would enhance existing curriculum for all grade levels and continue to build upon an understanding of the fitness for life philosophy in a natural setting. We also wanted to provide the GWS students, staff, Marshfield community, and people from surrounding areas an opportunity to take advantage of the unique animals, flora, and fauna the campus has to offer. The trail, it is a 0.8 mile loop around the perimeter of the GWS property that meanders through wooded areas near wetlands, around vernal pools, and in open grassy fields. This is just an overview of what the campus looks like, and the Fit Trail begins right here behind the school. At this point, there are these 2 welcome signs that explain to visitors exactly how to use the trail. And as you can see, the trail goes into the wooded areas, meanders here. There are some historical markers in this area that the students get to see as well, and anyone on the trail. It goes into an open grassy area right here, but then comes back into the woods in this area right here, and again meanders through the woods. This is where the vernal pool is, and this is where our outdoor classroom is. And then again, it just goes back into the grassy area and then goes back into the woods a little bit. And here is where we would cross the street, and the path continues in front of the school. And then the final station, the circuit is right here. So there are 5 circuits that we'll explain later on. The paths are marked with blue just markings. They are also marked with this little Fit Trail symbol. So the students are getting to learn how to navigate trail systems as they're going through the trail. This is an example of what the trail looks like in different areas of the fitness trail. This is along the parking lot area. This was thickly wooded area that we had to remove and put wood chips down. And now the kids are able to walk safely in an area where cars are not located. The fitness stations. The trail includes 5 exercise circuits with 4 fitness stations at each circuit, which is a total of 20 in all. Users can follow instructional signs for each exercise to enhance their Fit Trail experience. So I'm going to pass it over to Sean Jackson, our PE teacher, to explain the instructional signs in each of the 5 circuits.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Don. As you can see, the picture on the left has a clear demonstration of exactly the types of signs that are located around each of our 5 fitness stations. In the picture on the right, you can see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 signs. So each fitness station has 4 different circuits. And our goal for the company that we chose to work with was, are they going to be accessing the 7 components of motor skills? So we have strict requirements with filtering out the different companies that we wanted to work with based on that. As you can see, the design is made out of wood, mainly out of wood, which blends in with our natural environment. And those 7 components of muscular fitness are agility, balance, coordination, power, reaction time, speed, and cardiovascular endurance. So as students are moving throughout this 0.8 mile course, they're capable of accessing 1 circuit per loop on the course. If a student was going to do a 5K, which is 4 laps, they can actually go through the entire stations 4 times, accessing 4 different circuits. So part of this was also that we wanted our community to feel welcome and have the access to not only the beautiful grounds, but to these stations as well after hours. So it gives a unique opportunity for people to use exploration, as well as for teachers like myself teaching phys ed to promote curricular goals. What else, Dawn?
That's it. Thank you so much, Sean. That was awesome. As I mentioned, when I was showing you the actual overview loop, there are 2 historical marks that we included on the trail. We really thought it important to have the kids understand these historical markers and just have an appreciation for the history of this property, not only the flora and fauna and animals that they see. The fitness trail in use, this is what you would see a typical class this year, masked, of course. There are blue markers on the trees that the students follow. When they get to the circuits, as you can see, they can spread out. If there's already a student at a circuit or a station, then they know that they are supposed to be off to the side, stretching and doing something else. This is them, of course, running through the stations. I'm just going to move this over, or running through the trail. They love to jog. They love to walk. They love to skip. They love to hop. It's just a fun time for all. This is another area of the trail system that they're walking in. This is circuit number 2. They enjoy the historical markers. There is, at a certain point, a very large rock that Mr. Jackson named Wolf Rock, which they enjoy. When they hit an open field, of course, they enjoy running as well. This is them at one of the circuit 3. This is the vernal pool. There is a log here that makes the perfect sitting place for them to sit and enjoy watching the water and seeing the ripples and looking for insects. There are trees that overhang certain parts of the trail that they thoroughly enjoy. And one of the things they really love to do is to build forts with the sticks laying on the ground. That is a lot of fun for them at recess time, especially. And this is circuit number 4. This is circuit number 5 with the students enjoying it. And then of course, here you can notice the cars in the parking lot. We really felt it important to create this into a loop, and looping it would allow them to make that full circle around the perimeter of the property and also stay out of the parking lot where cars would be located. The outdoor classroom is a part of the Fit Trail. It actually goes right past the Fit Trail, the Fit Trail goes right past the outdoor classroom. With our ever-changing world, we wanted to create an outdoor classroom space that would directly impact the social and emotional learning and enhance the existing curriculum in a natural setting where students, staff, and the community are able to take advantage of the unique sights and sounds of the beautiful area we call Governor Winslow School. So these are some students, and they are unmasked. This was my class last year. So as you can see, the outdoor classroom is just fenced in with some natural wood fencing. They have a table that the students can work on and 3 benches that the classes can sit on as well. The fitness trail and outdoor classroom are being used for many things: academic extension areas, PE activities, nature walks, movement breaks, mask breaks, personal fitness, animal observation and study, outdoor music area, plant observation and study, outdoor reading areas, snack areas, alternative field trip options, recess stations, jogathon routes, outdoor art areas, and much, much more. An informational kiosk is going to be coming soon. So I am going to hand it over to Mark Talachi right now to explain what that kiosk is going to be all about.
Thank you, Dawn. First, I just want to say thank you to the entire MEF. Without their efforts, the last 2 grants that we've done would never have been possible. Last year was the outdoor classroom and this year the Fit Trail. So for the kiosk, we'd like to thank South Shore Sign. They've been really helping us out a lot last year with, again, the sign for the outdoor classroom. And this year, they really took a lot of time meeting with us and discussing options for our sign and kiosk. Think a particular sign that would be durable and also representative of what the Fit Trail entails. Our vision kind of grew every single day. So what started off as a simple sign has kind of transformed into this wonderful kiosk that students and families of Marshfield, as well as visitors from all other towns, like Dawn had said earlier, everybody's out there, it seems like. So that this kiosk could provide the ultimate experience for everybody who's enjoying the Fit Trail and outdoor classroom. So the kiosk will provide Fit Trailers with a map of the stations, a description of the Fit Trail and outdoor classrooms, recognize some of the important contributors that helped us in this process, as well as there will be 3 QR codes. Since there's such a wealth of information regarding the plants and animals, the trees, the monuments, the sites, anything that somebody might encounter along their journey, these QR codes will take visitors to websites that would explain more about what they're going to see. One of the really cool ones is a tree finding website where the travelers answer a series of yes or no questions, and that way they can narrow down exactly what tree that they're looking at and things like that. So it just really, again, while they're working out and getting fit, it enhances their whole experience. So again, thanks again to the Marshfield Education Foundation and everybody who's made this, possible.
Thank you. And we would like to say a special thank you to the Marshfield Education Foundation for generously funding this outdoor classroom and fitness trail. We could not have done it without their support. We would also like to thank Global Industries, the Marshfield Conservation Commission, Jason Zimmer from the Mass Fish and Wildlife, North River Tree Service, Smith & Sons Company, South Shore Sign, and Mr. Callahan, our awesome GWS custodian. So with that being said, we are done sharing. So thank you so much for letting us be a part of your meeting this evening and spotlighting our project.
Well, thank you so much. That was an awesome presentation. We really appreciate that. Any members of the committee have any questions or comments they'd like to make? Go ahead, Ms. Campbell.
I will confess that I was looking at those QR codes while you were talking, and they pull up some really amazing websites. So that's incredible. I know where I'm taking my girls this weekend, but just kudos to all of you. What an amazing project. And the fact that it's not just a fitness trail, but you're adding in science, you're adding in history and combining all of that together for the students in our town, I just think is amazing, especially in a year when there's been, maybe not as many fun things as our students are used to. The fact that our governor wins those students have access to that is just incredible. So big thanks to you. And again, a big thank you to the MEF. I don't know the dates. Maybe Mr. Miller can chime in the dates of when the 5K is done and people can still register and support the MEF.
Sure. Yeah, I was going to say this for informational, but this seems like a perfect time to jump right in. Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Right now, the registrations, we have 467 registered for a virtual race, which is incredible. And that speaks a lot to the community of Marshfield. We would love to get it to 500. So if we can get, how many people are on here? 103. If we can get 33 people to sign up. If you haven't signed up already, sign up. Let's get to 500 and support the MEF. The race is still open through April 4th. So it's a virtual race. It started St. Patrick's Day through April 4th. Marshfield St. Patrick's Day 5K.com. Go on there and register. You can walk, run, do anything, anywhere for 5K. The race course is marked, so if you know the race course, you can go down there too as well. So thank you. This is exactly, we raise a lot of money through the road race. This is by far my favorite. Sorry, there's a lot of great grants, but this one is truly awesome. So thanks to Ms. Backlund, Ms. Jackson, Mr. Talachi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller and Ms. Campbell. We won't tell Nala that this is your favorite of the grants that's been given for the MEF. But thank you again. Donna, any other questions or comments from the committee? I know Governor Winslow's biggest fan, Ms. Brait, has something she'd like to say. So go right ahead, Ms. Brait.
Hi, can you guys hear me? Yes. Okay, I don't want to mess that up again. So yes, I am one of Governor Winslow's biggest fans. I just wanted to say thank you to the people that I see all the time. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I love that you incorporated history into this. I think that's such an important part of education, to teach these kids, what was there before them and to let them leave their legacy of something that will be there when they're long gone. I'm a GWS alumni, and I love sharing with my youngest one, things that I used to do and how things that still look the same and things that have changed. And it's really cool. So thanks so much. And sorry, this headphones. Thank you so much. But I've never seen Mr. Miller so excited, by the way. I just wanted to add that. I have really never seen, he threw me off guard. I've never seen him so happy. So kudos to you guys for making Mr. Miller have a permagrid over here. It's great. You guys work so hard. I appreciate you so much, all of you. And thanks so much for giving our kids something to be excited about this year.
Very well said, Ms. Brait. Thank you very much. Any further comments, questions from the committee? Oh, Ms. Boyd, go right ahead.
Hi, Mrs. Backlund. Nice to see you. I also just want to commend you guys. This is a really exciting and innovative project. And I think, we're bringing the classroom out into the community, but, you've also really brought the community to one of our classrooms. And I think making this available for families across the community to use is really great. Also would like to give a thank you to the Marshfield Education Foundation and to all of the teachers who continue to find really innovative and exciting new approaches to bring to their students and to apply for the money from the Education Foundation. So yes, get out there, do the road race, get them to 500, and let's keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Boyd. Any other questions, comments from members of the committee? Oh, okay. Mr. Granatino, anything to add?
I'll just add briefly, again, echoing many of the comments here. Thank you to the educators that made this happen, to the MEF for their support in all of our schools, I mean, from Governor Winslow on down to the other 4 elementaries and the middle school and the high school, have worked tirelessly to really find innovative and creative ways to reach our students. And whether it's inside the building, whether it's outside the building, whether it's a climbing wall in Mr. Jackson's gym, there's something for everyone. And our teachers never stop trying to reach our students in creative fashions, and it shows. And the fact that people want to spend time on the weekends at our schools, at our outdoor classrooms or our outdoor trails is a testament to the hard work of our staff and to the creativity that our leaders have across the district. So I just want to say a big thank you, and it always makes me proud to be able to walk into the buildings or around the buildings and see some of these great projects come to life. And it makes my day when I get to go down and visit the GWS and see those things in action. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Granatino. Well said. Don, thank you very much. Mr. Talachi, Mr. Jackson, thank you so very much. That was an awesome presentation. It was great to see. So thank you, folks. We appreciate your time. Okay, so next up, we are going to switch some things around here, and I am going to enter into public comment next before we move on with our agenda. So I'll remind folks that if they're interested in addressing the committee for public comment, I will just need, if you're speaking as a resident of Marshfield, your name and your street that you live on. And if you are interested in speaking in public comment, please use the raise hand feature. And that is how I will call on you. But I am going to recognize President of the Marshfield Education Association, Sally Marples. Sally, I'm going to go ahead and unmute you for public comment. The one and only Sally Marples.
Thank you very much. I have now been kicked off like 4 times, so I'm going to talk really fast. And if I get caught in the middle, I think I'm just throwing the computer out the door. So hopefully we all understand my frustration. First, what I want to say is, as an association, as a representative for the association, we have been gratified over the years, but particularly this year, that we've had a very receptive, cooperative, and collaborative leadership in this school district, from your superintendent to every school committee member to every principal and our assistant principals. We couldn't be where we're at if we weren't all working together. And we really appreciate that. We particularly appreciate the fact that the school committee was open, and as we presented more of the challenges that were being faced, that you listened to us and you understood that for the students coming back the last week of a term, for the vaccination, which this town really went out of their way to get for us, and just for the general sanity of everybody, that we were able to come up with a date that was going to work for all of us. I know many of the parents are going to be disappointed. I truly understand that. Most of our teachers have been facing the same challenges you have over this past year. I haven't as a mother, but as a grandmother, it has been excruciating. And there's been no easy way around this. I can say this for every teacher. We wish we could have been back wholly in person from day one, but we couldn't do that safely for our kids, and we couldn't do it safely for our staff. The fact that our teachers want to be in the room with the kids is demonstrated by the fact that our elementary schools are one of the first that came back fully live, fully in person back in February. We're also beating, if you want to call it that, the state guidelines for the middle school and for the high school, and getting our kids back as early as possible. It's not going to be a perfect solution, but we'll make it work the best way we can. And we're going to get our kids to the end of this year, and we're going to look forward to making more progress next year. And we're going to do it in the same cooperative and collaborative way that we've been able to work this year. So not prepared this time. Thank you very, very much. And we are really looking forward to seeing all of our kids all at once, and in a way that hopefully they'll be safe and we'll be safe. So thank you, all of you, for all your efforts. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Sally.
You
We
can mute
appreciate
me
that.
again.
We appreciate your continued collaboration as well and your entire team. Going to next recognize Ben Raymond. Ben, I'm muting you now. Go right ahead, sir.
Okay. So last week I made an impassioned plea, and this week I'm going to make a briefer and just as impassioned thank you to the entire committee, Ms. Brate, Mr. Greer, Ms. Boyd, Mr. Costello, Ms. Stetson Campbell. I just wanted to say again, echoing the Governor Winslow presentation, my stepdaughter was upstairs literally jumping up and down when Mr. Jackson was presenting. And oh, Ben Raymond Atwell Circle, by the way, I'm a resident. I really appreciate the time that the committee took to reconsider. And I just wanted to thank the Governor Winslow presentation again, and thank you all. The right thing done deserves recognition, and consider yourself humbly recognized. I seriously appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thanks very much, Ben. And again, thanks for all the work you're doing this year for your students. Joseph Hayes, going to unmute you now, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm a student at Marshfield High School. And first off, I would just like to say that, I don't really understand why all of this is decided by people who don't attend the school. They keep talking about how our concerns are recognized, but it's kind of obvious they're not. We got sent a survey that was clearly just a fake survey because, 80% of students did not want to go back. And, here we are going back. Most of the teachers I know don't want to go back either. I just don't really understand how the opinions of people who are actually in the school system are thrown out the window. And on top of that, the basic life necessity of eating food has been taken away so that we can go home earlier. Nobody wanted that as a student. We have a 10-minute snack break, which is literally just like eating military food rations. We need to eat a sandwich. That's a necessity for students. I can't understand how it is possible that there are people in real life who agreed with this decision. On top of that, the fact that I even got a survey was just kind of insulting because we all knew that, our thoughts were not being taken account of. This is like the students deciding how the parents should do their jobs. I mean, none of us know what it's like. So, we clearly shouldn't be doing that either. As a student, it was as if they just randomly changed things every few months, and constantly just preaching about students' mental health. It's just clear that it's not cared about at all, because anyone who voted for this and decided that we could go back does not care about it. It's pretty clear that the school committee is directly responsible for hampering the health of students.
Okay, Joseph, thank you very much for being with us in public comment. Like I always say, we always appreciate hearing from students, so thank you. Going to go ahead now and recognize Lauren Dargan. Lauren, I'm going to unmute you.
Hi there. Thank you. First off, thanks to everybody as usual. Super impressed with all the work that's been done and all of the extra work people have put in. I just wanted to put out a note for what I've heard, but I haven't been able to find details, is that once the kids, especially in the high school, go back, that they won't be permitted to Zoom in even when quarantining. And I've been working with some students from other districts that have encountered this. And for an asymptomatic student who's at home and not able to Zoom in, you can begin to see how quizzes and tests pile up. They'll have to make those up when they come back. And now they've missed sometimes 3 or 4 classes of instruction of new material. And then they'll have new quizzes and tests on top of that, or papers and assignments. And it's really causing quite a strain, and it's quite upsetting. And I'm concerned about if that is going to be the policy here, that we maybe can look at it and figure out a different option. If we've already had the Zoom technology and it's been able to work, if it's on a school quarantine, clearly that wouldn't be, today I have a headache and I can't come in, I'm going to Zoom in. I think that's counterproductive, and especially for kids with anxiety, that can lead to staying home more often, which isn't usually helpful. So it would be, especially if you're quarantined through school contact, that you would be able to Zoom in to not fall behind, especially if you're asymptomatic and capable of doing the work. So that was all. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dargan. Always appreciate your input as well. Anybody else interested in speaking in public comment? This is the last call to raise your hand and you'll be recognized. Okay. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Is there a reaction there from Ms. Mincello? Paula Mincello, Dr. Mincello, I'm going to unmute you.
Thank you. My name is Paula Mincello. I am a resident of Marshfield on Littles, a parent and a teacher in the district. And I would like to personally thank the committee for hearing all parties involved's concerns and really taking that into consideration tonight when you decided to announce our return to school date. I can speak for myself and my daughters that has really eliminated and eased a lot of stress and anxiety that all three of us were going through. We're extremely thankful for you guys taking the time to listen to our concerns and to hear our voices. And we really do appreciate all the work that you do. And everybody, I think, is looking forward to having a sense of normalcy in a time frame that works best for teachers and students and everybody involved. So thank you again. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that, and it makes us glad to hear. Any other public comments? Okay, seeing none, I apologize, folks, that we had just a bit of technical difficulty, and one of our members was unable to unmute during the Spotlight on Excellence. That has since been rectified, so I'm going to go ahead. Mr. Greer, I know you had something that you wanted to add to that Spotlight on Excellence, and I want to make sure you have the opportunity to do that.
Right. I can't say too much because I'm the last one to go and everybody's said everything that I was thinking. But I just want to personally thank everybody involved with this effort. And it just shows what a great district that we have and what great educators and administrators throughout the district. And I just want to thank all of you for participating and providing this for all of us.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Mr. Greer. Appreciate that. And sorry again for the technical difficulties, but I'm always glad to make sure you get your time to address those things, Mr. Greer. Thank you. Okay, so now that we've moved past public comment, I think we will go to informational, Mr. Granatino, and then we'll move through the agenda as we usually do. So I'll turn it on over to you, sir, for your informational update.
2 weeks in a row, I'm going to be somewhat short here with my comments. I just figured we had a lot to discuss related to the return to fully in person, and the focus is not only on the secondary, but what we were looking to do with the elementary. So I'm going to pass right now, but I reserve the judgment to the right to come back later if I want to follow up on something.
Anytime. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now to you, Dr. Martin. Go right ahead.
I'm also going to pass. I feel like I've seen you more in the past month than I've seen you in the past 6 months total. So I'm all set for tonight. Thanks.
Well, we're very lucky for that, seeing you as frequently as we have, Dr. Martin. Thank you very much. Going to go ahead now and recognize Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller, go right ahead for your informational update.
I'll be real quick here. I had a couple things I just wanted to update the committee on. Work has begun at the Furnace Brook Middle School for this second floor 6th grade wing to installing air conditioning, actual real air conditioning. This has been a process that has gone on for several years with temporary air conditioners. That wing has been is noted as always being exceptionally warm, especially at the beginning and end of the year. Those who have been around for a while remember Miss Curry. This was one of her main goals, and I'm so glad that we're finally have started the process. So, and then we, thanks to town meeting, special town meeting last fall, passing the funding for that. The one thing we are doing is we are wiring the building to expand it throughout the whole building. So this is the first part of a project to eventually, hopefully, have all of the Furnace Brook Middle School air conditioned, similar to our high school. And just on a town meeting front, next Tuesday at 7 p.m. is the remote advisory board selectmen's budget warrant hearing. So another Tuesday evening for us. That'll be 4 in a row. That's it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Miller. Appreciate that update as well. Any subcommittee reports at this time? Nope. Okay. Are student representatives with us tonight? If you are, use the raise your hand feature. Okay. I don't see any of them here. We're going to move on with the agenda. Might as well just take it in order, Mr. Granatino, if you're comfortable. Actually, why don't we, I know we've got a couple people here to present. Specifically, I see Principal Kuther is here with us. So we might as well start with him to ensure that he doesn't have to sit through the entire meeting. So Principal Kuther, we can go ahead and turn it on over to you. I'm going to unmute you now, sir. And folks, it is not underrated to have the power to mute or unmute your high school principal. So go right ahead there, Mr.
So,
Kuther.
Mr. Costello, can you give me video privileges too? Because you've muted me from video privileges as well. Oh, thank you, Mr. Costello.
There we go. How about that?
And now you can see me live from my
Take care of
living
you,
room.
Mr. Kuther.
It's good to see the committee tonight. Good to see the leadership team for the Marshfield Public Schools. I'm here tonight to talk to you about our NEASC process. So I was with you at a point early last year to talk to you about our new vision of the graduate that was approved at Marshfield High School, which replaced the old mission core values statement as we began the New England Association of Secondary Schools and Colleges accreditation process. Last March, when we went into the pandemic, we were about 3/4 way through finishing our self-reflections, which is a report that's written by the school, the faculty and staff in the school, that reflects the work that's being done inside of Marshfield High School on 5 core areas or standards of accreditation that the New England Association looks at and evaluates us on. Next month, so April 26th and 27th, we will be hosting the New England Association for what's called a collaborative conference. This is the first time we're going through a new process with them. And so an evaluation team of 4 educators will be visiting our school virtually on that Monday and Tuesday, and they'll be here to take a look at, they have already received our self-reflection reports. They'll look at our self-reflection report, and after processing our self-reflection report, they'll then come and try to evaluate our building based on what we've reported out in areas of strength and areas of growth. And we've labeled and picked 3 areas of growth that we need to continue to be focused on at the high school. Our areas of growth are in the area of curriculum rewrite. We're rewriting our curriculum. We have 3 departments that have completed this process, and we have another 6 departments that have to go through the finalization of curriculum documents over the next 2-3 years. So curriculum will be one area of growth. Second area of growth is the vision of the graduate has with it 6 expectations for learning, or 6 skills that we expect a Marshfield High School graduate to have. So the second area of growth will be the assessment of that area of growth. So our assessment of that skill. So how we critically think is one of the skills that we expect a Marshfield High School graduate to be able to do. So how we go about assessing that inside our building will be one other area of priority area of growth. And then the third priority area is social emotional learning. With the knowledge of us coming back from the pandemic and all that's transpiring with coming back from the pandemic, we know that our students are in need of social emotional support. So how we go about dealing with that, how we deal with, we've had a kickoff this year to focus on cultural proficiency and looking at cultural proficiency and how it relates to social emotional learning in our classrooms. Those are some of the priority areas that have come out of our self-reflection report. So this team comes on April 26th, 27th, and it's a very new process with the New England Association. So take us back 11 or 12 years ago, a decennial team came, evaluated the building, and gave us 60 or 70 recommendations on things that we needed to do at Marshfield High School. In this process, they actually take our areas of growth, come and look at our building overall, might add to an area of growth if they think that we need it. And then they ask us to school improvement plan and to plan those areas of growth into our school improvement plans. So one of the good things is we have a strong history with our district strategic plan filtering down to our school improvement plan, which then we execute at the building level. So what you'll see coming out of this is our school improvement plan that we have approved by you annually will now have a NEASC reflection in it that talks about the fact that the areas of growth that have been represented in our school improvement plan have to represent the priority areas of growth through the New England Association. So I think the process overall is a much more comprehensive process, and it's more effective in that it's focused on the school improvement process, which is an annual piece that we have to do at Marshfield High. So this collaborative conference is sort of the precursor. So in the 22-23 school year, we will host a decennial team that will come. Then it'll be a full 8 to 10 member team that will come. I'm assuming at that point in time it'll be in person, and they'll come on site and do a decennial visit that will again focus on school improvement planning and what's our next step, short range and long range, in reference to our school improvement initiatives. So our NEASC chair is Dr. Ruth Whitner. She's the retired superintendent from the Whitman-Hanson Public Schools. I'm hosting her next Wednesday for a site visit where she'll get a chance to come and see Marshfield High School. Pretty funny, she was the original, the Whitman-Hanson building is the original model that our building is built off of. So she's excited to see the ideation of our building compared to what she was there when they constructed the then new Whitman-Hanson building. So but we'll host her next Wednesday. She'll come on site. We'll talk a little bit about what the visit will be. And then on the 26th and 27th, we'll host the 4 educators virtually. There'll be classroom observations. There'll be meetings with parents, there'll be meetings with students, there'll be meetings with faculty that they'll take part in, meetings with our administrative team, central office team. So there'll be several meetings that will occur during the first day of that, and then they write their report and meet with me specifically on Tuesday to give us some guidance into our next steps school improvement wise. When all of this is done, we'll get a report, and I'll share the self-reflection report with the committee, so you'll have that document to review and look at. And we'll also share with you their support documentations, the evidence that they find when they come and do the evaluation, because that'll guide us a little bit on next year's planning. Does anybody have any questions about the NEASC visit or where we are in the accreditation process?
Questions, comments from the committee? No? Mr. Granatino, anything to?
Having gone through it, and again, NEASC, as Mr. Kutha will attest to, kind of like DESE, has changed quite a bit over the years. And when you think you have it down and you know what the plan is going to be, they change the protocols around, they change the expectations. I think they have heard a lot, though, from the stakeholders, and they have streamlined the process quite a bit from where it once was. It's still an arduous task, and I want to thank Mr. Kutha and his team, because it takes all of the folks at the high school to do this. It's not a 1 or 2 person event, and all the work that gets done beforehand. It's while everything else is going on. It's quite an accomplishment. So I want to thank them for their efforts, and I'm looking forward to Ms. Whitner. I know her very well, and I'm sure she'll be impressed with what she sees over at the high school. I'm excited for that visit.
Awesome. Thank you. And Mr. Kutha, go right ahead, sir.
The last comment I would just say is that the good thing about NEASC is that it's educators evaluating educators, and we have a great team at the high school. My faculty and staff are outstanding. in the middle of all of this, in the middle of pandemic and all the rest, right? We're working on NEASC reports and approving NEASC reports, and really speaks just to their hard work and effort. But I think that's going to be reflected in the reports that you'll see from our team that's it's been assembled to do the writing, and I think you'll see that too when they come back with their findings. So I don't think anybody ever says we're excited to step into a new NEASC evaluation, but I'm confident that when they come, they're going to find that our kids are doing a great job, and they're in good hands with our faculty and staff.
Thank you, Mr. Kuther. And I remember from the last go around just how seriously you take these and your entire team takes these. So thank you for all the work that you'll do there, and having you here in the public forum tonight gives me a chance to say thank you as well for everything you've done throughout the school year, and thanks for all the preparation work that you're doing as we prepare for a full return on April 5th as well. I know that's no easy task, and you and your entire team have just been doing a great job all year, so we very much appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks so much. We are going to move on now to the early childhood tuition. I believe this is Mr. Miller, correct?
Mr. Miller will walk us through this.
Yes. So this is a request for the committee to consider a small increase in the preschool tuition rate for next school year for 21-22. The last time this was increased was prior to the 19-20 school year. It was an increase of $250. Prior to that, it had not been increased since 2011. So the request is an increase of $250 to go from $22.50, our current cost for the year, to $2,500. In your informational, you receive the comparison of other South Shore towns, and at $22.50, Marshfield is essentially the lowest outside of Plymouth on the South Shore. The range in other districts is from $2,300 up to over $3,100. So this increase would be $250 to $2,500. Obviously, it's not the greatest time to have an increase, but there is a sliding fee scale for anyone that does have financial difficulties, and that is set by the state of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The request comes to the committee because our director, Courtney Coots, and Ms. Scalaro are looking to add an additional halftime teacher for next school year, and with the potential of another halftime or an increase in a little bit of the ESP staffing as well. So there's currently 85 peer students. So our peer students, I'm not going to get into the whole early childhood presentation, but essentially half our students are considered peers. Approximately half the students are there for special education purposes and do not pay. The children that do attend as peers, not for special education reasons, do have to pay the tuition rate. So the increase would bring approximately $22,500 in additional revenue to the program, allowing us to pretty much offset that halftime teacher. So knowing full well that this plays a small part into the whole program. There's six full-time teachers. There's over about 8 FTE, 13 ESPs that work a variety of different hours. So this is a small component of the program, but knowing the financial difficulties operationally we're going to have next year, we thought it was prudent to bring this forward. Once again, a $250 increase from $2,250 to $2,500. If this is, I know this is a first read. I know Ms. Coots is anxious to get the process started for registering for next year. So we can obviously wait to our next meeting, but it would be, if the committee so chooses, it would be, she would appreciate it if this could be done as a vote, as an action item as well.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any questions, comments for Mr. Miller from the committee? No? Okay. I personally would be comfortable. Oh, I'm sorry. I personally would be comfortable acting on this tonight. I know that as you just said, Mr. Miller, that we have had some time to review it since it was included in our packet. I'd be comfortable voting that. So I would look to the committee if they feel comfortable as well for a motion. It would be a motion to increase the early child tuition rate from $2,250 to $2,500.
So moved.
So moved from Ms. Campbell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Boyd. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstaining? That's 5-0-0.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, our last agenda item for the evening is an update on DESE call for in-person instruction. Go ahead and turn it on over to you, Mr. Granatino.
I think that's what we've already spent a little time on as far as.
Oh, you're muted. I don't know if you had anything else to add.
Kind of worked that into the discussion we had when we were discussing the high school and middle school moving back to in-person. The next steps that we have in place for elementary as well. Again, DESE is calling on us to have that 5th day of in-person instruction. So we're working with the MEA to put that plan forward. The goal is to have it similar to what we've had in the past with an early release day, this time probably on a Wednesday. And some of those start times, just so parents know, some of the start times will most likely have to change because we have to come up with those 5 hours of instructional time. And if we want to keep the early release for PD and for planning, then we're going to have to move a little bit on those start times. And we, as you know, when we started the year, we were in that the hybrid model and providing teachers the chance to have more planning time to start the day. So we'll be working on the union with that this week, but hopefully we'll have that in place, and we will definitely have it in place by April 5th, as it is not an option. And just overall, I just want to commend the elementary schools. They've been going at it now since February 22nd on the in-person, and you see the excitement. You see not only in the students' excitement, but the eyes of the teachers as well, to have their students in front of them. And sure, there's some hiccups, and there's been a couple times where we've had to quarantine, a group, even if just one person is positive. And we knew that schools across the Commonwealth are dealing with that as well when they come back to fully in person. But nothing substitutes for the ability for our students to have their teacher with them for the entire day. And we've seen so many things going on in the school that we missed the first part of the year. And to have that back in place now, I think is great. The numbers have been very good. From a health standpoint, up until this past week, we had not had a positive case at the elementary level for a couple weeks, which was the first time we'd seen that in I think since October. So we'll keep monitoring that. Obviously, we have to be ready if there are hiccups, and I think the systems that we have in place have worked. And when people have had to be out, we've been able to adjust and make sure that we meet their needs, and we'll continue to do so moving forward.
Thank you very much, Mr. Granatino. Does the committee have any questions or comments on that? Yes, Ms. Campbell, go right ahead.
I just had a couple of comments. One, if there's any parents that are still on, I would caution anyone for getting information from social media, since we don't know details about elementary school and all of this. I'm also an elementary parent, and I understand the need for wanting this information as quickly as possible. I've also seen a lot of misinformation, so I would just tell parents to be on the lookout for communications from your building principals, or reach out to someone, but I would caution you about getting information from social media. And just one other comment that I wanted to make in regards to, this decision about going back fully for our middle and high school students and all of the decisions that have had to get made this year. We've heard from a lot of different stakeholders, teachers, parents, students, citizens who don't have children in the system, but are still taxpayers in the town of Marshfield. And we've heard from a lot of people that we're not listening to them. We don't care what their feelings are. And I want everyone to know that we do care, and we do read every email, and we read every text, and we have so many conversations with all different stakeholders in our community, and we do hear you. And just because we might have voted a way of, no lunch and we're having snacks, or busing, or start times or whatever the vote is, and maybe it was a different feeling than what you had. Just because it was different doesn't mean that we didn't take your considerations to heart. If anything, that is what has made this year so challenging, because we are getting so much information and so many feelings and emotions. And so I just want everyone to know that we do hear you loud and clear, whether you are a parent, teacher, student, grandparent, anyone. All of your concerns are equally important, and we're always listening. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Campbell. As always, very well said. Any other questions or comments on this? Ms. Boyd, go right ahead.
I would just like to add to Ms. Campbell's comments that, students, teachers, and parents have really managed this year of incredible change with tremendous flexibility, hard work, and resilience. And for that, we do appreciate that. I wish we could eliminate, all of the anxiety that comes with kind of the next change and our next return. But the reality is we're not going to eliminate the anxiety of the impacts of COVID-19 in our personal and professional lives for months to come. We do owe it, however, to our students and to our teachers and to our parents that we try to make the return to school as smooth as possible. And we encourage you to continue to reach out to us as we implement this change, and to let us know if there are additional questions or details that we need to be looking at to make sure that that transition goes well for everybody. Finally, I guess I would just like to say to the students that we have also heard you. I have one at home I hear from a lot. And I think it's fair to say I've also heard those concerns firsthand. And I think, I also want you to know that to our students, you have educators and teachers and staff that care deeply about you. And please reach out to them, again, if you've got questions or concerns as you return. So I look forward to the start of the new year again, bringing both cohorts back together, reunited. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Boyd. And I again just have to thank Ms. Boyd and Mr. Greer for their work on that negotiating team. Mr. Greer has been on pretty much every negotiating team we've had since he joined the school committee. And Ms. Boyd, this was your first one. And again, you guys did a great job. So thank you both for that. We very much appreciate that. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Okay, seeing none, we are going to move on to our last item of the evening, which is the minutes from our meeting on the 16th. I would just ask the committee to take a moment to review those.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 6th.
Thank you, Mr. Greer. The motion has been made by Mr. Greer for an approval of the meeting minutes from March 16th. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Boyd. Thank you very much, Ms. Boyd. I'm ready to vote on these once the committee has signaled to me that they are ready as well. Good. Okay. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand, saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstaining? That's a 5-0-0 there, Ms. Pazerski. Okay, folks, that is all she wrote for our meeting tonight. Do we have any other business in the committee? Any questions, comments? Don't see any. If there is a motion to adjourn, the chair would accept that.
So moved.
So moved from Mrs. Campbell. Is there a second? Second from Ms. Boyd. That's a roll call there, Ms. Pazerski.
Mr. Costello?
Yes.
Ms. Bree? Ms. Boyd?
Yes.
Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Mr. Greer?
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much, folks.